Hey everyone, I'm Purge and welcome to another anime update video. This one will seem kind of sparse, but it isn't really. And when I say kind of sparse, I mean kind of sparse in terms of like uh, anime I've actually watched since the last update. But it kind of isn't, and I'll get to why it isn't when we get there. So let's get straight into what I've completed since the last update. Go to my anime list, go to last updated. Right, so first thing, a very culture anime. Should we try this? Um, Boku to Joy no Shinsatsu Nishi the animation. Now, the only reason I watched this is because it's actually related to this one that I watched, that I mentioned in the last anime update. They're considered alternatives to each other because they have character crossover. There's like the same character, a couple of the same characters are actually in both, and like it has a different, but it has a different story. And I say story in the loosest possible sense of the term. Um, it's again okay. It's not very the content you'd expect from a from a culture anime. It There's not a lot to it, and again, it's extremely vanilla. It's very censored. So yeah, I give it a 5 out of 10, just like this one, because it's okay. It's kind of mediocre. So there's that. Then I watched Flowers of Evil, which of course was on my up next list. It's actually from my recommendation list, as I say every single time. I pick the recommendations from this list randomly, and I it's actually recommendation number 18. Now, in it, um, it follows a high school student who's kind of obsessed with this girl in his class, and he does something pretty bad, and someone else catches like sees him doing it, and then his life kind of spirals from there. I'm being really vague because again I don't want to give spoilers, but that's the general gist of the story. The first thing you'll notice is that the animation, the art style, is very unique. It looks pretty realistic. Now I've seen people say that they just don't like the animation at all because it doesn't look like a normal anime. It looks way more realistic in that, and I actually quite liked it. The whole it gave the whole anime a more somber and realistic tone, which I think really fit well with the story because the story is actually um, kind of hard hitting um, and um, quite visceral in places. I did like it. Um, it is good, and I probably would have given it an 8. Um, Instead of a 7, I did give it for one reason. The only reason I didn't give it an 8 is because, unfortunately, it doesn't have an ending. It just stops. And to make matters worse, they give a preview of the next part of the story, but it never happens. It never got a, which we can assume is a season 2. So Flowers of Evil never got a season 2. So we're kind of like left hanging really. Um, the manga that the anime is based on is complete. The manga does have an ending, so everybody says if you watch the anime, you have to read the manga because it actually does have an ending. So eventually, I'll get to the manga. But yeah, Flowers of Evil is good. I would recommend it, but just know it doesn't actually have a proper conclusion. So that was Flowers of Evil. Then I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie Pyramid of Light. Now, the reason I watched this is because I'm obviously watching Yu-Gi-Oh! The show, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, if you're watching the original show too and you want to know when to watch the Pyramid of Light movie, it is you can watch it. The place you should watch it at is after episode 144. So when you get to episode 144, stop, watch the Pyramid of Light movie, and then carry on with episode 145 and beyond. That's because that even though the Pyramid of Light movie isn't canon, it takes place right after the Battle City arc ends in the show, and the Battle City arc in the show ends at episode 144, so that's when to watch it. Anyway, as for the actual movie itself, story is a person from the Pharaoh's ancient past wants to essentially take over the world and destroy the world, and that's basically essentially the story. Now, what the movie feels like is kind of one duel stretched out into about 90 minutes. It's not got much of a story. The animation is good though, but the story's kind of uninteresting. The duel is okay, and overall it's fine. I mean, again, considering it's not canon, you could probably skip it altogether if you didn't want to watch it, but I would recommend giving it a watch. It's fine. Um, and if you're watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Anyway and you like Yu-Gi-Oh! You'll probably want more Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, so this fits the bill just fine. So, that was everything I completed. Since the last update, we'll go on to what I've been watching. Now, this is the reason. Now, as you can see here, I've only got one thing I'm watching. Yu-Gi-Oh! Of course, because I've had a Yu-Gi-Oh! On my watching list forever. And the reason why my activity looks a little bit sparse this week is because I tried to concentrate on watching lots of Yu-Gi-Oh! And to be honest, since my last update, I have watched 18 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then as soon as I finished episode 144, I went and watched a Pyramid of Light movie. So yeah, I watched 18 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! And now that the Battle City arc has ended, I can say that's a really good arc because one of the things that makes it really good is because it actually follows the rules of the card game in the Battle City arc. Because by the time the Battle City arc started to release, the episodes started to come out, the physical card game had actually been released, so they were able then to take the rules from the physical card game and then put them into the anime, which is nice, as opposed to them just making up rules to fit what they wanted to happen in the story. Because obviously, before the Battle City arc, there was no card game, there was no actual card game, so they were just kind of just making up the rules, which I didn't really like because I wanted parity with the card game because I do play the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, albeit digitally. I do like it. So when you get sort of parity with the card game, it makes the actual show more immersive. So yeah, I watched 18 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm going strong with it. And I'm looking forward to actually seeing what the arc is after the Battle City arc because I have obviously no idea. So I'm looking forward to where it goes now. And obviously, again, there will be there's no up next editions because the up next list hasn't changed the last couple of updates now. Obviously, only one's been removed because I've watched Sparse Vivo. So, with that said, that's everything I've completed and watched this week. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.